Center mass twice. One of them
Okay, we have your attention. We're getting ready to get started here.
My checks.
So, IT is good. Yes, things working and all that. Meeting's called to order.
Remember the mics at the 6-inch mark.
Meeting's called to order, regular city council meeting, November 7th, 2022. Roll call, please.
Counselor Rakely,
Here.
Counselor Palmer,
Here.
Counselor Newstead,
Here.
Mayor Studebaker,
Here.
Counselor Wilson,
Here.
Counselor Bishai.
Here. Great. Pledge allegiance. Mr. City Manager, any agenda adjustments?
Just in case we had a couple amended agendas that went out last week that failed to include two of our updated guests, but they're on the most recent agenda. So the agenda in front of you is what we.
Okay. Any announcements, correspondence, awards, or proclamations?
Just that's what the two agenda items from the public kind of fell under that category, I thought. So I put them there, but none that I know of from myself or other councilors.
Would you like to address the request for council?
Certainly, I could do that either before or after Sam speaks. My understanding is a request to have the citywide garage sale more than once a year. Formally, I think we could talk about the benefits and why he wants that. And then if council would like to do that, then we could put together a little proclamation, a future one, just to make it official. We can make it official today, but if we get your feedback and direct me to make that happen, if that's what you want to do.
Carol, want to address how?
I put it as he formally requested because it was an action to get direction from council on. So maybe I confused it by the location on the agenda. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Hey, come on down.
Thank you very much. Everybody, fellow council members. Good to be here again. Right.
The mic is on.
Microphone on?
It is.
Wow.
Sam? 8 inches.
And hold it about 6 inches down. And the light should be.
Hello.
All right. Listen, we had such a successful garage sale, as you all know. We got a lot of PR and a lot of buys in the neighborhood and outside the neighborhood, which I like a lot. And some vendors have asked. I told you all that last time we were here. But I would like to have May 20th formally declared Gold Hill Yarden and Park Day. And so we could have that done. It's not, doesn't conflict with any of the other big, Jacksonville stuff or any of that other stuff. So we could just do that. We'll be able to get a little bit of PR on that. And then we could just do our fall and spring sales. And yeah, raise a couple more bucks for the dog park. We got enough to put the 2 shade cloths in, and great guy named Eugene donating a couple of benches. So we're rolling. So I just want your okay on that. And
So by May 20th, you mean May 20th every year, or like the third?
well, May 20th,
Saturday of the month?
well, yeah, whatever. May 20th this coming year, and we'll get that thing out. A few weeks before that. And, put a little on that for that, and then next year, We want it right before Memorial, Day, Saturday before Memorial, Day, whatever's done for it. It's a big shopping day. All right.
And how would that fit in with
Oh, there you go. All right. We'll just graph it. Yeah, we want to make this like a regular time event.
So maybe the garage sale is the 3rd and the citywide cleanup is the 4th in
Yeah.
May and October. That kind of what we're.
Yeah, that'd be great. I love that. Yeah. You- well, all right.
Sounds good. Thanks, Sam.
Telling you, wish everything were this easy.
You're preaching to the choir because we all appreciate what you did. It sounds like it was very successful. And you know what? If we can all clean out our garages, that's good.
Win-win.
Just a comment about the dates. I think it's a great idea, but May 20th, and then if you get the cleanup date on the 27th, that's actually. Put it all back. Do the garage sale on the 13th, and then
Done.
I'll draft up a little proclamation thing and using language that gives flexibility.
Carol, is there an update on the holiday lighting?
Okay. Hello, can you hear me? Down here? Further away, like this? Okay, okay, now is that okay? Okay, all right, well, I'm just here to give you an update on Light Up Gold Hill. We are approaching our the end of our preparation and getting ready for our events. I would like to say that we started in September and that we have all the money that was made from the Blue Bag Brigade and several of the donations that we've had made throughout the process of planning. We're able to do all the lighting and all the events that I'm going to talk to you about, and it's all free to everybody. Just come and have some fun and enjoy the lights and the decorations in downtown Gold Hill. So it's a great feeling to know that we've been able to do all of that. And so we will continue to light up downtown Gold Hill. We're going to try and light up more of 2nd Avenue this year. Last year we did more lighting in the parking lot down at Ray's or at the shopping center. And this year, we're going to try and light up the dark space that was between the parking lot and the downtown area. And Swedes has generously made a generous donation to us to help us with the lighting that we're going to be putting on the bushes that are on the, if I'm facing Swedes, it'll be to the left of Swedes. We'll decorate to the right, and then we will take up the decorations on the left-hand side, and we'll put white lights on the bushes. And we're also going to put some more candy canes on the berm that is toward where Gustav is. They built a berm where the basketball court is or was, and so we're going to put candy canes in there with lights on them, much like we did down at the parking lot. So we're doing all of that, and we're looking forward to having the city help us out again by being able to install the lights and the rope lights and the wreaths that will be put up, and all of the decorations in downtown and the shopping center and at Swedes will be done by December 2nd because our first event is on December 3rd. And then, in addition, we're lighting up the sequoia tree again in front of the library. And we're also lighting up the blue spruce. And I just want to make a quick aside here that this is the blue spruce, we were hoping this year that we would have a new electrical outlet and a light in the park, in the city park, but we evidently will not have that again this year, even though we had talked about having MRMPO funds available for that. But we've hit a couple of ditches, and so Swedes will again generously donate the electricity for the blue spruce. And the library, of course, allows us to hook into their electricity, so that part is taken care of. Okay, we're also painting windows again this year, so that was kind of an additional part last year, and it kind of made things popular in there downtown here where we have the empty windows, and at Christmas time it was nice to have those all painted up. And we're looking to advance the window painting down the street also toward the parking lot and the shopping center. Okay, and then that brings me, so that's the light up part, and then we have the events that we're planning, and that's what I handed out to all of you, is we have these 4 events planned, and they're happening on Saturday, December 3rd and Saturday, December the 10th. And on the 3rd, we have 3 of the 4 happening, so it's a very busy night. And Santa will visit and light up the tree right around 6 o'clock at the Gold Hill City Park. And at the same time, there'll be a vintage car gathering in the library parking lot. The library has cooperated with us and is allowing us to put the cars in the library parking lot, which is a great asset. And so the cars will be lit up for Christmas, and Blue Nelson is helping us with that, and even the library folks are putting one of their vans, are going to bring one of their vans and put it in the parking lot. So we're excited to have that collaboration and cooperation going on this year. And then in addition to that, after the Santa comes to light up the tree, and the vintage car gathering will continue to go on, and everybody can walk across the street to the IOF hall and enjoy the Festival of Trees, which will involve a free chili dinner with macaroni and cheese for the kids if they don't like chili. And we have 6 Christmas trees donated, artificial Christmas trees donated, decorated for Christmas, and ready to go to 6 families on the day after the events, for those families that may or may not have a Christmas tree. And then, and so people will be able to come, enjoy some food. We'll have some music playing. We're going to have a little I Spy game to involve the Christmas trees, and a small token of playing participation for the families that are participating in our activity. And then on December the 10th, we're going to hopefully have a lot of winter fun. And we're going to use IOF hall again. We're going to do activities inside and activities outside. We're working with Adam and asking if we can block the street, Estramato Street, from 4th Avenue to 5th Avenue. I don't think we need the whole block, but so we can do some indoor and outdoor activities, so we can have more room and involve more, have more for more activities, and have more people hopefully come and participate. And we will have things like gingerbread golf and snowball scoop, and we'll have some candle making, and we'll have wreath toss game and all kinds of good things going on. And we're having a hoot trying to figure out how to play all these games ourselves. So, it's good to try them out before you actually have to perform them before somebody else. So at our last meeting, it was pretty funny, but we got most of them figured out. Okay, and then let's see. And so the biggest thing we have left to do is to find the volunteers to help us do all of this. And I don't know if any, we have a couple of the council people already involved with this, but I don't know if any of you would like to volunteer to sign up. I have a sign-up sheet here. I'll pass it around. Maybe during the meeting, you can look at it, and I'll gather it back up at the end. And feel free to put your name in here. We'd love to have any of the council people involved and come down and enjoy in making the holidays in Gold Hill merry and bright. And again, I thank you for all of your cooperation. And I thank everybody else in the town who has donated so many cans and bottles and made this all possible. Thank you.
Public input. Anyone in the queue and who signed up?
I don't know if people want to handle that, but nobody signed up unless they forgot.
This was submitted by Chris. Oh, sorry, thank you. This was submitted by Christine Albert. Who lives at 292 Avenue.
Marvin? Can you?
hear me?
How about this? Okay, here we go. Sorry. I'm thirsty. Okay, so this says, I have been directly involved in numerous committees regarding the disposition of our wastewater issue for the past 15 years. I could outline the history of dereliction that repeated councils have demonstrated towards this project, but that would take more energy than it's worth. However, the dereliction is multifaceted and it encompasses some elements that will not be obvious to anyone entering into these discussions for the first time. The opportunity to use Gold Hill as the destination point to run a pipeline down Blackwell Road to Gold Hill should be taken advantage of, but should be part of a regional strategy that would encompass the outlying areas that include 3 existing trailer parks, KOA, Dardanelles, and River Park, as well as other geographical areas that currently are documented to be causing hotspots in the Rogue River by their discharges. This was documented in the Gold Hill Surface Water Management Plan, which I doubt any sitting councilor is aware exists. The idea that the cost of a project like the pipeline should be borne by the 500+ users that represent the equivalent dwelling units that are currently served by the Gold Hill Wastewater Treatment Plant, rather than be the benefit that it could be to the entire area, and most importantly, the Rogue River itself, is an opportunity that should not be missed. The fact that the city cannot address this as a regional strategy is due to the gross mismanagement in City Hall by inexperienced councilors who have remained uneducated in the normal processes of municipal government. One of the underlying problems is that there is no growth plan for Gold Hill, and Gold Hill's failure to address the county's riparian way mandate is at the bottom of Gold Hill's stunted growth. Jackson County enacted their Riparian Way Ordinance 2006-10 in 2007. This ordinance required that every entity in Jackson County adopt a riparian protection plan subject to the approval of the Jackson County Commissioners. Any city that did not have an approved plan, was no longer eligible for increasing their urban growth boundaries or annexing adjacent properties. And Gold Hill has not had 1 inch of property added to its UGB for 15 years. Nor can we consider annexing property until that is accomplished. The discussion about adopting a Riparian Way Act in Gold Hill was never taken up by the council, and it is my opinion that these discussions are subverted behind closed doors because the Gold Hill Whitewater Park interests do not want Riparian Way restrictions to possibly get in the way of their plans to build an Olympic site on the river. At one point, after the DEQ issued the mutually agreed order that permitted the wastewater plant to continue operation while solutions were fleshed out, Gold Hill was involved in discussions with the governor's regional solutions team for our region. Both John Gassick, the EQ senior engineer, and Kate Jackson, who was at that time the regional solutions advocate for this area, using the vetted cost benefit analysis from Dyer and Dyer to base their conclusions on. This was the last known informed discussions that took place regarding the pipeline, and at that time it was considered unfeasible and did not pencil out with even 2,000 users. As has been the habit, the council, the plant was rehabbed under the supervision of Mike Bolweg to meet minimum requirements and then permitted to operate, being staffed by Rogue Valley Sewer Services, and promptly forgotten about. I'd like to note here that contrary to Councillor Ron Palmer's uninformed comments in a public meeting, the current fines being levied against the city are in no way the result of any dereliction by RVSS. The fines are levied against administrative failures by the city regarding permitting issues. During the time that RVSS has been manning the wastewater treatment plant, there has been exactly 0 violations of the discharge permit. RVSS has been a good partner to Gold Hill in the years that it has operated and maintained the wastewater treatment plant and should be considered a trustworthy partner going forward. The standard norm in evaluating which option should be chosen is the cost benefit analysis, which weighs, for one thing, whether or not the option chosen will remain viable for the duration that it is financed for. These are standard criteria that are used by the USDA and other government lending agencies before they grant funding. If the city were to engage in a regional strategy that included RVSS to expand the pipeline to not only the 500 users in Gold Hill, but to include the acreage that currently is not able to annex into the city because of its failure to have a Riparian Protection Act, the numbers change dramatically. There are a total of 3 trailer parks using septic systems that, if included in a regional strategy, would do 3 things: prevent further pollution of the aquifer in the river, increase housing in the immediate area, and dramatically lower the cost per tax lot of the construction, maintenance, and operation of the pipeline.
Excuse me, Maria. Can we wrap up finances?
Somebody else want to donate their 5 minutes? Yeah, put your name on this. Sure, people can donate 5 minutes. They do it all the time. Donate 5. It's allowed.
If one person has 5 minutes.
That's something that.
I think that it would be in the best interest of the citizens to listen to what a citizen has to say. I don't see why the council would not want to hear from a citizen,
There's a 5 minute limit for a reason.
and people often donate their time.
People I've been on this council for 4 years and never once seen anybody donate their time.
I have.
I recall. And we're not going to start. So you've got a minute to wrap up.
While including these properties on the opportunity to use a sanitary pipeline would be an immediate benefit to the owners of those parks, there are also properties like the one belonging to Joe Frazier that want to be annexed in and who wish to subdivide those properties for housing. There are also tracts of annexable properties on the other side of I-5 that are natural for development if the services were available. The annexation of just a handful of properties that have expressed an interest to be annexed to the city in order to subdivide that property into R1, 2, and 3 lots has the potential to double the EDUs in Gold Hill. This cannot be accomplished without an approved riparian way protection plan. While I appreciate the work done on the current assessment on the cost of the pipeline for the 500 plus existing EDUs in Gold Hill, it's not rocket science to know that twice as many users means that the costs are cut in half to each individual user. It would be extremely short-sighted to consider the proposal of a pipeline without considering the potential of a regional strategy. Certainly, any pipeline built will be to accommodate more than 500 users.
Okay. Interesting that we not heard that argument prior, the conversations about the getting started information. Adam, can you make this? Adam, would you make this part of our proceeding?
Yes, of the minutes. Yes. Yes.
Okay, public hearing.
I'm seeing a little trend here.
Keep an trend going, the action items?
Correct.
Okay.
Nice.
So number 8, reports from council. Maria, would you like to report on the liaison activity?
There's nothing new on that. We're still waiting for a plan. We haven't heard on the appeal of the penalty.
When's the next date? Nothing scheduled, no meeting dates.
No, nothing scheduled yet. I have a email in to kind of check that out. I'll make sure it's on the council look ahead and also let you all know.
Other council updates on business? Okay, city manager report. You've got a few items.
I have a few. Last meeting, I was able to put together a memo for you, written prior, to give you for that. This time, with being out of the office for a bit, I ended up just putting a little summary of what I wanted to talk about on the agenda itself. I hope to combine the two things the next time and do both, a memo and list this out so people have an idea of what items that we're going to be chatting about. So I'll go through these and feel free to stop me and ask questions either as we go or catch them at the end. But there are a variety, kind of a hodgepodge of different things that I wanted to make sure you were aware of, and then we had some kind of a little bit of advanced conversation about. It was Carol mentioned it in her update. The Middle Rogue MPO. Prior to me getting here, you had an allocation of these COVID grant funds. Some of that has been executed on and spent. Some of those items are still pending, and there was a remainder of funds that had not yet been allocated. I think I talked individually with a few of you, and I was wanting to make sure you're all good with having that be an agenda item probably next month to try and just give a recap of what's been done, what we think is in the hopper, kind of true up the amounts. Those were estimates, I think, when the allocation was done, and then put together a list, kind of a staff recommendation of what we think would be smart to allocate the remainder of those funds to, and then have with an opening for council to obviously add items that we don't have on there. Between now and that meeting, it'd be great if you have specific items, either from prior meetings that either didn't make the cut for some reason or didn't have the prioritization. If you want to feed those my way, we'll make a staff recommendation, and then also have other council stuff so we can kind of speed up that conversation. So the December meeting would be potentially to approve, or at least to have real clear direction for a January. There's no massive hurry to get that allocated, but I think it would be good to do that prior to a budget process so we know what we're doing for the remainder of this fiscal year. So, but feel free individually if you have particular items that you want to be sure are in that we at least have in the document that we can discuss in that agenda item. That'd be great. This next item is from another Middle Rogue MPO. Malia and I were both at a recent committee meeting. I can't remember which, is it the full board or is it an advisory committee? Policy committee, thank you. Which is my first one with Middle Rogue. I've been to Rogue Valley MPO. They had conversations about kind of regional stuff, but one of the items that I wanted to bring forward was the bridge, the Gold Hill Bridge, Blackwell 99. That one is on their tip, on their plans. And I met with, or I had a conversation with the ODOT engineer, the project manager, as a follow-up from our meeting. And thought I'd give you a quick update of what he said. They are looking for probably council and community involvement in the late spring, early summer for conceptual, how they, whether they close it completely, whether they do one-lane closures. Of course, one-lane closure leaves traffic through, but it elongates the total construction process. So just some actual pre-planning is going to get underway in the late spring and summer, and I'll put that on the council look ahead as well, so we know it's coming. Just wanted to give an update to council and to the community that project is actually sounding very viable. Construction wouldn't be till 25 or 26, 2025, 26. So we're not having impact from that, but the planning for that I think would be important. And definitely ODOT is interested in having both community and council input on that process. So more to come on that one, but just wanted to give you a heads up.
Quick question.
Yep.
So was we discussed widening it or putting it like additional 2 lanes? Where is that?
It sounds, it's widening for sure, the travel lanes. The bike and ped component is a little bit up in the air in terms of what kind of designs, how much width that would gain, depending on the different engineering that they would extend off, aprons off there. There's also some constraints with the railroad right away, both for construction and I think for some permanent design. So it's early. They're really in pre-design, but that's all going to start kicking off, like I said, late spring, summer. So, but the travel lane widening is number one, and actually getting the load rating removed is one of the primary things. It's constrained from a engineering load rating right now. Yeah, I don't think, I doubt there's, yeah, thank you.
That's a lot more of a project, but we have discussed that we have thrown that out.
Yeah, he did not mention anything about four lane total. I lane widening, giving more room, and then beefing it up for the taking off the load restriction, I think are the primaries there. Number 3, Planning Commission had our meeting 2 weeks ago, I believe. We actually had a non-meeting, and that's part of the reason for the update is we have 3 Planning Commission members out of 5, so that requires everybody to be in attendance for it to happen. I don't know what the history is on the Planning Commission and success in getting additional people, but it'd be great to beat the bushes and try and get some additional participation on the Planning Commission. Really, having 3 and with 1 person gone, it just, there's some legal issues on the land use side for decision making and all of that. So it's a pretty important appointment. So those are, just fill in a form and we can get those to anybody and have them apply. It'd be great to get some. Thank you. Anybody that lives in the city, yes. There is one, yeah, there is the code allows one that's, I think, either in the UGB or within a certain distance. I haven't looked that up, but that one's already filled. So the remaining slots would be city, inside the city.
So for next meeting, can you summarize what the requirements are for those?
Certainly. Yep.
We'll make a regular pitch.
Great.
for volunteers, because that is very important.
Yep, I will do that. Great. The second item relating to Planning Commission is just kind of a heads up on what they're working on. If the big picture project is a grant funded update to the municipal code, heavy focus on the land use side, but it's actually the entire municipal code. There's some really, kind of standard replacements, rip and replace kind of stuff with a lot of cities that have codes that are haven't been comprehensively reviewed. Things that like fees that are in code should be removed out of code and put in as a resolution instead. Embedding fees in code usually aren't, that's common in old codes, but not the norm anymore. It's cumbersome. But there's some content changes, and then there's some land use stuff that's changed with state mandates as well. But the Planning Commission is going through that with our contract planner from RVCOG. So they'll be going through that. They already have been, but they'll go through it in earnest in January and February. So council, and then there'll be some community like open house style that's required for the grant, and it's also, I think, a smart thing to do, which would then happen in the March, April timeframe. So probably showing up to council. Planning Commission is a review and recommend body in this process. Council is the approval body, of course, for code amendments, and there will be a big document of strikeouts of removal of code and new code. And that'll be coming in front of you likely in May. Any longer, and we would lose some of the grant funds. So the goal is to maximize that. The grant expires end of May. So another one for what's coming down the pike. It's going to be a hefty spring with that plus budget plus several other things. So, but it's a great project. I think it'll be a really good thing when you see it land here at council. This is a small one, just a DEQ, an annual report for stormwater. I just wanted to highlight that it's a report that was due November 1st. We got that in, and it really talks about what we're doing for stormwater infrastructure, stormwater maintenance, stormwater training for staff on stormwater rules and regulations and best practice, and then also some stuff about public engagement or public information relating to stormwater management. So I plug it because I think I actually have a little, for next meeting, the Middle Road MPO money, I think I'd love to have a conversation about some use of those funds for some stormwater master planning potentially, because there's more stormwater regulatory coming down the pike, and the stormwater system there needs some attention, as I'm sure you know. So double duty, just to give you an update on the report, but also to give a little pitch for next month's discussion about the Middle Road funds. Wastewater treatment plant, I think that was, I sent out an email a few weeks ago, but just to make sure it's clear that RVSS, consistent with a clause in the current agreement for operation of the wastewater plant, has started the termination process of that contract. So they, as of June 30th, 23, they would cease to be the operators of our wastewater plant. So with that, I have some meetings scheduled with RVSS next week, just staff to staff. But what I also will have on the council look at for you, I think we really need to start in January, first or second meeting in January, talking about what's the array of options for that, trying to start with what's the most viable council direction on how do we want to start pursuing either a scope of work, RFP, that kind of thing. So I think we need to jump on that one in January just to be ready. Last item is really operational. It's City Hall office hours when we're open and available to the public. With our constrained staffing, new staffing, issues that we're trying to rectify, I'd be curious to get input either now or individually later to talk about carving out some time for staff to be able to work on some of the arrears issues that we have, and having some dedicated time with the office closed. We're currently 9 to 4, exacerbated by having the vacant position that we're still working on. But I was curious about kind of the history and openness to looking at some of those hours, either closed on Friday, half day Friday, 9 to 3. I think I mentioned it in the council update. I don't have any hard and fast, and I know that's can be impactful to the community when we start constraining hours, but with constrained staff and the backload of critical items, I just want to throw that out there. No need for any sort of decision tonight, but I would like some feedback on, and even if that's temporary, even if we do maybe 2 months of that, I think there'd be some value for us catching up on some pretty critical stuff. That's all I've got. Yes.
Adam, what hours did you have in mind for the city hall?
Well, I don't know for the community what is least impactful to the community, and that's kind of a judgment call, I guess, because it's more impactful to some than others, depending upon their work schedules and just life schedules. But one I thought of was closing 9 to 3, just shrinking in hours. That 3 to 5 gives open. Excuse me. Yes, open 9 to 3, closed at 3, so 3 to 5 can become a really focused, dedicated time. Or going to more of a 4-day deal, which I know some cities have been doing for some kind of general counter activity of closing Fridays, and having that whole Friday being available for all of that dedicated back work. So those are probably the two functionals. Obviously, wide open to what creates just a few nuggets of opportunity for us to catch up those things with some dedicated time. But if that isn't desirable, we'll make do. We'll be fine. It would just boost us. It would get us going.
I don't see how an hour a day, kind of hard to get into for that hour. But I do also think we could maybe one day we be open a little later.
Yeah.
Maybe Mondays or
Wednesdays or whatever, have a later hour. We can be able to go by.
Good. I see some head nods. I can work on some combos.
I agree with 4 days a week, but leaving maybe 1 or 2 days at the beginning of the week where they're open. And then maybe just working 4 to 5 hours on a Friday.
Like 10 to 5. You know, you can have, I mean, the library.
Well, productivity is what you're looking at. You just, nobody wants to do 6 hours of working here in the office and then work 2 more hours after that. Productivity is not there. I mean, that's just how it is. So,
Yeah, and like I said, it's not, if it becomes too challenging and it's so inconsistent for everybody, I mean, consistency matters as well. So I don't want to overdo it because we are fine. We can get through there. There was an opportunity, and again, with the staffing, getting a new person in, we're going to need to train them, and that's hard to train. And where some of that training, you do want to have them trained with customers, but there's a lot of training that is, so don't want to overdo it, but something I wanted to get your input on.
actually, that's your call. So that's why.
I just want to gauge the community as well and make sure that we're not hamstringing everybody. So,
Along those lines, we also talked about refreshing the website so that it's easier to input.
yes.
Again, if we get that a little bit easier to input and we actually get that word in there, this is a prime area that we need to communicate better.
And that is one of the items that some dedicated time, because we did sign, we do have the contract done and executed for the new website. And I just submitted our first round of design layout and content mapping to them earlier today. Target of middle of December to have that up and running, at least the skeleton of that up and running. That we'll have full access to the back end and all of that. So yeah, that will help. And then we'll be able to start really promoting, the online bill pay, put some more FAQs up, how-tos, to use it and try and get people there that want to be there.
For the community, we've heard repeatedly and justifiably that we haven't done as good a job as we could have communicated with you and notifying you of things. And so, we've got a clunky website that we just haven't been able to add things to it easily. So we're going with a standardized format that Adam and or the team inside and maybe some others within council. People can add content very easily. So we have been hearing what you're saying. We have been working on that. Adam's done a great job of bird dogging our options. Got some really great commonly used options, I think, Ashley, the format that you're going with. It's
It's a pretty standard. There's 3 or 4 companies that really focus on local municipal governments that have agendas, news, very similar municipal codes, all the same kind of set of information. So with some, customizable layout differences, but it's a pretty standard set. And of course, with the standard set is pretty economical.
Any other questions for our manager? Good of the order. Good of the order.
Honestly, I wrote that down.
Tonight. The one I tried to get, they were backordered and I could get 1 instead of 6. And so I'm scouring to get them, but we might have to pay the premium and get the ones that were in stock. But I was price shopping. And but we'll bite the bullet. You're right. It's very clunky for everybody. So I apologize for the delay on that.
Any other reports from counselors? Okay, again, Carol's done a great job of putting together a vigorous 2-day operation this year. She's got lots of available slots for us worker bees to sign up to volunteer to help with that. She'll have it here before you leave tonight, so if anyone has not seen that, had a chance to sign up, please do. Again, thank you for all that work, Carol. It was great.